smoke pouring over Boston.
I saw just massive black plumes of smoke.
Tonight, the chaotic scene as power is knocked out.
It's the darkest I've ever seen.
And the threat that forced evacuations and shut down city streets.
Then Whitey Bulger writing a memoir during his years on the run, how prosecutors could now use his own words against him.
Live from Boston, WBZ News at 11 starts right now.
We begin with breaking news tonight. An emergency in the Back Bay. A transformer explosion sends thick black smoke pouring into the skies over Boston.
Sky Eye Live is over the scene right now, nearly 5 hours after the fire started. Finally, it's been put out. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jack Williams.
I'm Lisa Hughes. Early on, the firefighters were afraid that the smoke was releasing toxic chemicals. This is a fire that started in a substation next to the Back Bay Hilton. Fuel kept the flames going and kept the firefighters back for hours. For safety, NSTAR cut the power, and that plunged the Back Bay and other parts of the city into darkness. Jonathan Elias is live at the scene tonight. Jonathan, 20,000 people without power right now.
Lisa, it's a lot of people, and it's a pretty big area. This is Huntington Avenue right here, and you can see they have police in the middle of the intersection directing traffic. Normally a very busy intersection. All the apartments here, they're all black. And let me walk you up Belvedere Street. This is where the Sheraton's right there. The whole building's black. The Hilton behind it, where the fire started, is also black. This area is completely without power, and we just learned that NSTAR finally got into the substation to take a look at just how bad the damage is to their transformer. Just after 6 o'clock, the explosion shot flames out of this concrete building housing an NSTAR power substation. Black smoke was pouring out of the building and could be seen for miles. It wasn't toxic, but it wasn't healthy. The flames were quickly knocked down, but the fire kept burning.
The only way you can really put out an electrical fire is you have to shut the power off. So the NSTAR folks have been working for the past couple hours to do just that.
The entire neighborhood went black, lights out all the way down Boylston to the Boston Common. Stores and restaurants forced to close, traffic lights out. Boston police are calling in a lot of extra crews to deal with the blackout.
We do have some calls that have come in. Fire lost their 911 call center. We're taking those calls now at BPD. We do have calls that are coming in for people stuck in elevators. We are going and triaging those, making sure that it's a legitimate call and not just an alarm that triggers when the elevator's stopped. Once we identify that, we work with our officers to make sure we get people out as quickly as possible.
2 hours after this fire started, Boston Fire was cutting their way into the substation through metal doors. Fire officials said both the Sheraton and Hilton were evacuated. Fortunately, no serious reported.
We've been very lucky. The buildings were evacuated very quickly, and we're fortunate that there's not hazardous materials involved here right now.
And back live now at the Huntington and Belvedere intersection. You see the police are here. There is no lights here. The only lights are flashing on top of their car. We understand, though, overnight from Clarendon on down to Chinatown, they should have that power restored sometime overnight. But as far as this area, NSTAR just had a press briefing a little while ago. Actually, the mayor, through the mayor, he said, we really don't know. It's not whether it's a matter of hours or days. We just don't know yet. But again, it's a good sign, Jack and Lisa. They finally have gotten into that substation to assess the damage.
Jonathan Elias reporting for us. Thanks, Jonathan. You know, the city is throwing all of its resources into this.
Mayor Menino briefed us on the situation just a few minutes ago.
I ask everyone to, when they wake up in the morning, to check with the different media outlets in our city to see what roadways are closed, what business might be open and might not, might be closed. So I think fire, EMS, all did a tremendous job this evening.
Much is going to be determined by what happens overnight. The fire, the evacuations, the power outages, they led to an eerie scene in what would be one of the busiest parts of the city.
Now here's a live picture from Sky Eye right now. Street closures led to major traffic jams downtown. A lot of people were trapped when the lights went out. Many, as you heard, in elevators. Karen Anderson live at the scene now. And Karen, guests at the Hilton don't know when they'll get back in.
And Jack, that's why Boston police have a full force of police officers here in the scene. They've also been busing in police officers from other areas. And I want you to just take a look at what this is like. You've got darkened buildings all over this area of Back Bay, as well as through Chinatown, through Kenmore Square, and into the South End. People walking around, never seeing anything like this before. Now, the police, in addition to having the full force out on the streets, they're also bringing in massive massive light units to keep an eye on the darkened areas of the city. Now, so far, the mayor tells me there have been no problems with any looting or any criminal activity. He wants to keep it that way and is grateful that people are cooperating.
We haven't found out anything.
Eileen McWhorter is stranded in from Atlanta. She was supposed to stay at the Hilton for the next 4 days.
We're stopped right here. We can't go downtown. You know, I couldn't even get a taxi.
Now she's trying to figure out what to do.
I have no idea. You have an extra room?
Sonal Parma just moved here from West Virginia a few days ago. Now waiting outside.
I don't have any candles.
It's crazy. It's just, I mean, everyone seems to be keeping in line pretty good, but it's just crazy seeing all these cops down here.
These students got a text alert from Northeastern.
Luckily, actually, we had our smartphones and tablets, so we could, get some information without having TV and everything. But yeah, it was pretty crazy. And we looked outside our windows. We actually live right on the 9th floor there, and saw Huntington was pretty pretty packed with police.
The Jeffersons are prepared with a radio and headlamps. They've lived through something like this before.
Great storm of '78. We didn't have any power most of a week.
I want the power back so we can have a cup of tea in the morning. No tea, the end of the world.
And you can see the Jeffersons trying to make light of this situation, especially learning that there was just one minor injury. The EMTs tell me one person taken to Boston Medical Center for smoke inhalation. Lisa and Jack, back to you.
All right, Karen, thank you. A fire station just a half a block away, so firefighters arrived moments after the explosion.
Yeah, they started tweeting pictures as soon as they got there, first of the smoke pouring out of that building, then of the flames.